Yes, which was pretty awesome. Some of them were
Off the top of my head, compared.
You are now listening to the Voices of Dubai.
You're listening
Watching The Voices of Dubai with Joe Hage.
This is the Voices of Dubai.
Elie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
It's my pleasure to have you here on the show.
اشتقنا لك, man.
Yeah,
It's been a
نحمد
while.
الأكتر. Yeah, and for people who don't speak Arabic, it means I really miss you, and it's been a long time.
Don't just say it's a different.
We'll put it in the subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Elie, the first time I ever heard about you, about Elie Iskandar, I remember it was 2017. I was working back then as a creative audio producer at Mango Jam, and one of our clients asked us to cast Lebanese voices.
Yeah.
So as you well know, in recording studios, we all have those pre-made libraries of sound of different voice actors based on languages, gender, and dialects. And for this particular project, I remember opening the Lebanese folder. And we had a subfolder called From Mohammed Kibbe, Forest Studios.
Yeah.
I'm sure this name rings a bell, doesn't it?
Of course, it's one of the first studios I ever worked with in Beirut back in the day before moving here.
Nice.
So for sure, yeah.
Shout out to Mohammed Kibbe. So once I clicked on this folder, we had different names. And I saw Elie, clicked on it, started listening to the different demos. And I don't remember exactly what was the ad, but one of them really stood out for the deep and gravelly voice. And I absolutely loved it. Fast forward a little bit to 2018. I was working at Soundstruck Studios as a business development manager and an audio producer.
Yeah.
And I believe that's when you moved to Dubai, or?
I moved in 2016, but I joined partners with Charles at Nudge, which is sister company to Soundstruck, in 2018. That's where we met.
Yes. And
in person.
And we even shared an office space for a year and a half. It was awesome.
100%.
So since that time, I've had the pleasure to record so many different projects together. I mean, how many did we record together? 200, 300?
Give or take, around 200-300. And we end up doing either you do one language, I do the other, or we always end up on the same project.
Yes, which was pretty awesome. Some of them were Kit Kat, Talabat,
Exactly.
Tajawal, I remember.
Tajawal, true.
Any other that I'm...
Off the top of my head,
Yeah,
but I think these were the most prominent ones where we did two languages at the same time.
Yeah.
English and Arabic, and whenever we did an ad together where you played different characters.
Yes, that's
I
true.
forgot what it was. I think it was coffee or something like that.
London Dairy, exactly.
London Dairy,
exactly.
that's
It was
the one.
coffee.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, we also had some sound effects playing. Like we were two scientists. We were actually playing two scientists.
100%.
Coming up with this amazing coffee together.
True.
And wow, awesome memories.
Those were fun, man.
Absolutely,
For sure.
absolutely. Do you remember your first voiceover project ever? The first project?
Yes, I do very vividly because, so what had happened is I was back in Beirut. I would listen to a radio station called Mix FM. And you would always hear the voice actor for Mix FM going, Mix FM. He's that kind of voice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that. It felt like a cool job. And how do I do that? How do I get to that point in my career? Initially, I wanted to focus on radio and all of these things. So what I ended up doing, I was around 16 years old. I recorded an impression of him, just Mix FM. And I found the guy and I sent it to him by email. And he was so amazing. His name's Dave Fox. He's the main guy in New York in Z100. He's one of the top guys in the industry. He has a private plane, that kind of guy.
I see, yeah.
We're talking,
Yeah.
And he just responded with one line. He's like, "You've got the pipes."
Wow.
I was like, okay, that's a very encouraging thing to say.
Especially when you're 16 years old.
Exactly.
Right?
And I didn't have even a proper microphone. I had one of those, chat microphones, the stick mic that you just plug it into the...
USB?
It's not even USB. It was one of those like old plugs.
I see, yeah.
Nothing, no power on it, nothing. And it sounded horrible, but it got the job done. By the same time, next year, because of his encouragement, I was voicing 2 radio stations in the US that are university radio stations.
Wow.
And I was doing commercials for like Britney Spears and stuff like that. It was an insane... I went into voiceovers for the States before starting in the region here.
Wow.
And that kind of kicked things off. Those were demos that I took, and I started sending them to studios across the country in Lebanon. I even started doing voiceovers for Dubai back in Beirut. And it just kicked off, man.
Wow. How did all that success, I mean, you started when you were 16 years old.
Yeah.
How did all that success throughout the beginning, throughout the first couple of years in the beginning, make you feel?
Oh, bro, it was amazing. First of all, the fact that you can get paid for talking is an insane concept. It still doesn't doesn't add up.
Sure.
But it's so nice. And I wanted to kind of build upon that and grow it and make it more of a career. So my cousin is a very famous musician, Abdou Munzir. He's a composer. He's composed for Majid al-Rumi. He's composed for some amazing people. He has a beautiful studio. One of the first projects I remember where I needed a studio, I went to his and I recorded like 40, 50 pages for e-learning. It was such a long session. And he ended up giving me my first microphone, which I still have, Electro Voice mic, and the sound card and everything I needed to get started. And he even gave me tips on how to kind of isolate sound in my house because it's a regular house, you know, I don't have a studio. So that kicked me forward, that pushed me forward. So I ended up kind of investing more time and money and effort into becoming a better voice actor and into becoming an impressionist at the same time. So it was really fun.
Would you say that he was one of your mentors?
Oh, definitely. For sure, man.
Awesome.
He's someone who when he sees talent, he kind of, you know, pushes them, helps them.
Yeah.
And it's always good to have someone like that
Absolutely.
in your life.
Yeah. Can you recall a memorable or pivotal moment in your career where everything started to change and everything started to improve for you?
Actually, that was when I moved here to Dubai. So back in Beirut, I was doing voiceovers regularly, fairly regularly. I would go from the office. I had a Vespa, so I'd just go on from one studio to the other and recording small random commercials here and there. But really, when I moved to Dubai and started putting out my work, my voiceover stuff, all the studios connecting with me and having multiple bookings a day, it was insane. And I saw a big turnaround during COVID. Because a lot of people were relying on voiceovers and stock footage and doing manifestos and doing like these little pieces of content. So while I was at home, I was recording all the time. I have a small studio at home. So I was recording all the time from home, and it went from 1 a week or 1 a month up to like 3, 4, sometimes 3 a day, 4 a day. It's insane. So it's I saw it here in the country more so than anywhere else.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So Elie, you're a voiceover actor, a comedian, and a creative entrepreneur, and also a business partner at Nudge Media.
Yep.
Shout out to Nudge Media.
Actually, since you said that, now we're turning it into more. So Nudge, Soundstruck, Trilingual have all come together, and they've become one company called More.
Awesome.
It's a big old full-on experience for clients. So this is a really exciting journey. It's why I gained so much weight, but but it's a fun journey to be on. And
I'm sure.
Entrepreneurial and creative work in the region is really where it thrives, and it's a great place to do that.
Agreed. Do you think your career as a comedian impacted your career as a voiceover actor positively?
They actually are they complement one another.
Okay, how so?
Because comedy or anything that really has performance in it relies a lot on timing, which is something that you learn in the voiceover process, whether you like it or not. You're going to learn how to time, where to pause, where to stop, how to emphasize certain words, how to deliver certain things. So they work together. And my comedy experience on stage, comedy makes you fearless because it is the scariest thing you'll ever do in terms of performance, because you're going up on stage and it's dark. And you're just seeing little murmurs here and there. Yeah. And you have to make these faceless people laugh. It's scary. And you're alone, and it's silent. There's no music, there's nothing there. It's just you standing there with a microphone, and you think to yourself, why are they even listening to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that pushes you forward. So if you're able to do that, you're able to do anything else in life. Whether you're presenting to different people, whether you're doing voiceovers, doing live sessions in front of 5, 10, 15 clients. We've had those sessions where there's like 15 people on the call. What are you all doing here? Listening to me. So that's it gives you courage. On top of which, I started doing impressions when I was on stage. So I would do scenarios. When I did Comedy Central here, first season of Comedy Central, I did like Morgan Freeman. I did like, I don't even remember them at this point because I changed my whole comedy set. But I would always include voices, characters.
Okay.
Talk about my old neighbor in Lebanon who sounds like a compressor. So, you know, these kind of, for me, they fit together like a good jigsaw puzzle. So it was really interesting to have that, both perspectives at the same time.
Makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. We both know that voiceover acting requires a wide of vocal skills.
It does. Sorry.
That was perfect. How do you develop and refine your voice throughout the years?
Okay, so for me, it's always through observation and kind of breakdown. What I do when it comes to impressions, I do a breakdown of the voice. For example, we're listening to, let's say, Morgan Freeman. I look at Morgan Freeman and I break down his voice. What is there? There's gravel, which is this vibration, this kind of voice. There's nasal. There you can hear a bit of a nasal kind of tone in his voice.
Could you give us an example?
Nasal, something nasal. So you put these two together, something nasal. You start to get close to him.
Nice.
And then you do like intonation and how he says his words. So he goes up and down when he modulates when he speaks, you know? And then you have the little lisp in some instances. It's not very present, but it's there. If you add it, it kind of adds a nuance to his voice. And then you end up kind of noticing things like, okay, so he's old. He's not gonna say the word V very heavily. He's gonna say V. And you end up doing Morgan Freeman's voice.
That's awesome.
Kind of that, you know, it's a bunch of things coming together to break it down, to bring out a voice or a character.
So how would you say the voices of Dubai with Morgan Freeman's voice?
The voices of Dubai.
That was
You know, when
brilliant,
you
ladies
have to
and
hit the low one at the end, like it's the Dubai.
Dubai. That's brilliant.
Freeman.
Wow.
It's really fun to do different voices and characters, and Morgan is one of my kind of favorite voices. But I also learned, so this is the first time doing an impression ever. I was 8. I went to my neighbor's house. My mom sent me there to give her food. My neighbor is a smoker, a heavy smoker, has been smoking for 85 years. She's this big, so she's compressed into like a small powerhouse of sound.
Yeah.
And when I went there with the food, and she was like, "Hello, Habibi." I was like, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that thundering sound and noise?" I went back home and I said the same thing to my mom. Mama. I was 8. Can you imagine that sound? She thought I was possessed. She's like, "What is it?" Holy water. It's an 8-year-old kid who's,
Let's go to church, son.
"Hey, Mama, Habibi." And she notices, she's like, "This sounds like our neighbor." I'm not going to say her name because she's real.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the first impression. And then I noticed something, since I'm an only child, I don't have brothers or sisters, and I'm kind of an introverted guy, so I'm always at home playing with my toys, watching TV as a kid. I noticed that I can mimic voices on TV that are there, watching Elmo, when like mute. Elmo loves you. You know, like going into these voices and characters, I discovered that there's a big range of voices from very high to very low that I'm capable of doing. And if I really focus on that and kind of mix and match, I can pretty much do 200 different voices, give or take.
Wow, that's
So
awesome. Speaking of which, I love the content that you produce. I think your main focus on social media is TikTok.
It is more so than anywhere else.
We'll
I
make
like-
sure to have that in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure. I like TikTok as a platform because it's chaos. You go in, you go to the FYP, you don't know what you're going to see. So that to me is very entertaining. It kind of caters to my personality. I don't want to sit on Instagram and watch like one after another that are just the same kind of
Content?
posts and
Okay.
content. TikTok kind of surprises you
Okay.
with different things. So I found myself more in line with that because I don't just do sketches. Sometimes I do voices. Sometimes I do animation. Sometimes I do advice. Sometimes whatever. It's just for fun. It's the platform where I found I can put that type of content, and it would thrive, and it would bring in viewership, help people. It's a good platform for sure.
One that really, one content that really stood out with me and I could resonate with was one that you posted about a live recording session. Could you please tell us about that?
Okay, so this is based on experience. Just as we were saying just now, 14, 15 people are on the call usually, most of which are silent, and then there's like a few of them who are kind of over the top and insisting on a style of delivery that just doesn't work for what you're asking for. So I kind of put that together based on experience, and I did all of the voices in the sketch.
Yeah.
So it's 4 or 5 different characters that are talking. You've got the kind of Lebanese agency boy who like sounds like this, and then you've got the creative director who's like very, Elie, no, bro, you are not going to, you have to focus on this, you have to imagine you are in Lebanon and it's
eating hummus.
Yes, someone takes it away from you. Emote, that kind of, because we get to experience that in voiceover sessions all the time.
We do.
And I wanted to kind of encompass that in one video, the frustration of a voice actor, because you end up doing the same line over and over and over and over again for an hour. And you get to try to do different variations of it. Voices of Dubai, voices of Dubai, voices of Dubai. It's kind of like different modulation.
And they end up going with take one.
With the first take.
After 300 takes.
So many, because look, I believe in cold reads. Looking at a script for the first time and doing, that happens when you're an experienced voice actor, you've been doing this for a while, you kind of know what a script is going to sound like, what it's going to be, how it's going to be written. So a cold read always gives me one of the best performances. Going into this cold blind, boom, you nail it. And that's what happens in most of the cases. They end up going with the first take, which is funny.
Wow. So would you say that sometimes preparation for a script can get in the way of you nailing it?
Based on experience, yeah, unless it's an incredibly complicated script where there are technical words, scientific words that you might need to rehearse, might need to get to see what they would sound like phonetically, how they would be spelled phonetically. So yeah, I think for me, with experience, cold reads work, but for those who are getting started, no, practice.
Okay.
It becomes automatic to you at the end of the day, but if you're getting started, I wouldn't recommend going cold. You're gonna end up with a horrible
delivery.
Horrible delivery, bad focus on certain words.
I see.
But now you have the tools to do that, right? You have stuff like ChatGPT. People are always complaining, how do I get scripts so I can practice and do voiceovers? ChatGPT, go in, write for it a prompt to give you a script about the new Nissan or whatever. And then you end up practicing on that. It's super easy. We have the tools to do that.
Absolutely. Could you please share with us a challenging experience in which you had to overcome certain limitations within the session?
Yeah, for sure. That's a very interesting question because I have the perfect project for that. So, have you ever heard Morgan Freeman in Arabic? It doesn't work. How do you do a Mississippi accent in Arabic? How do you do a full-on American style voice in Arabic? That's what I ended up doing for Discovery. So they reached out to me, and it was a dream come true when that happened, is because I get to be the Arabic version of Morgan Freeman on one of my favorite shows, which is Through the Wormhole.
Okay.
And they did not want like the National Geographic kind of voice. They don't want that. They wanted an Arabic Morgan Freeman. It was a challenge. And I did a video about it. There's the amount of pages I had to record for a whole week and a half. I was recording about 7 hours a day.
Wow.
No joke. Sitting on, because I can't do it standing up. I'm too fat. I did it sitting down. I melted into the couch. The couch and I became one after 7 hour sessions.
The fusion.
Exactly. And I was just, if you're like me, when you're doing voiceovers, you don't eat because it's going to affect your vocal cords. It's anything acidic is going to affect it. Tomatoes are going to affect it, blah, blah, blah. So I end up waiting for 7 hours without food, recording every day to finish as many of these pages as I could as a Morgan Freeman Arabic voice, which just adds kind of another tier, another layer of difficulty to the job. But it was one of the most rewarding projects I've ever done in terms of like what I was able to achieve with it.
I bet. Balancing all these different areas of your life. So your voiceover work, your entrepreneurship, your business can be very challenging. How do you do all this while still maintaining your vocal health?
Oh, okay. Vocal health for sure. I mean, I thought you were going to say how while still maintaining your sanity, which I don't maintain it at all. No, sanity actually, when there's a lot of pressure with work, the way I maintain sanity is to create cool videos, funny videos.
Okay.
But the way I maintain my vocal cords is to try to avoid things that would hurt it.
Okay.
You know, try to stay calm when you're talking, not to overuse your vocal cords whenever it's not necessary. Because you have recordings during the day, not to avoid stuff like acid reflux, anything that's going to cause acid reflux, to avoid stuff like chocolate. But yeah, I mean, it's challenging to do that. And sometimes if there's like multiple sessions during a day and I have a lot of meetings and I have a lot of talking to do, I end up canceling certain sessions or end up kind of pushing them to another day just because I know it's gonna burn me out. And you should avoid doing voices that would hurt your throat. So there are some voices and tones that are challenging. For example, the Cave of Wonders kind of voice, that's not vocal, that's vibration, that's throat. That's straight from your throat. And voices that are two-tiered, kind of like low and high at the same time, so kind of like this, so difficult.
A goblin
because it's
voice.
high-pitched and it's, at the same time, it does kind of like vocal fry on the bottom, so that hurts your voice during long performances. I would try to avoid those. Otherwise, talk.
That's awesome. Could you share with us, or I don't know, on the spot, if you're able to do that on the spot, a live example of the Morgan Freeman narration in Arabic?
So this is actually, I'm going to play it because
Sure.
what I did was, when I was talking to the guy from Discovery, he wanted to do Morgan Freeman, and he was like, we heard that you can do Morgan Freeman. Can you do one in English? And I sent him this.
It falls into place within the human mind. It brings mathematical insight, arouse artistic inspiration.
You know, like it was Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, legit.
And then he was like, first of all, he thought it was the real Morgan Freeman. He's like, just don't send me clips from the guy. Just, can you do it? I was like, I did that. He's like, what? Can you do it in Arabic? I was like, that's a challenge. What are you talking about? Mississippi accent, Arabic. So I ended up doing kind of I did a demo for him, which is this in Arabic specifically.
إنها تقع في مكان ما في العقل البشري. إنها تجلب بصيرة رياضية تثير الإلهام الفني.
Can you imagine?
That's brilliant.
So I kept the width of the voice, إنها تفعل, and then kind of the depth of it, the gravel, all of these things. I tried to merge them together. It was challenging, but it was, as you can see, it's an interesting tone because what you're used to listening to Discovery Channel or to National Geographic is the إنه ليس تمساحا عاديا. It's the typical voice.
Sure.
قرد البروبوسيس. You know.
Speaking of which, we're also going to link that in the show notes. That was one of your recent
Videos,
contents. Yeah, that was awesome.
So yeah, it's a challenge to do something different in Arabic because you're so used to the typical. Even some of my sketches that you've seen are just the typical Arabic voice actor who's like, ماذا تفعل؟ إنها تويوتا الجديدة. You know, it's the same sound that you hear for 30, 40 years.
I can't say that I know who you're talking about.
No. I mean, this isn't one person. It's like multiple people. It's an amalgam of الصوت القديم العربي وثم. Okay, so what? Just do it's like English is so much more relaxed, so much more realistic when it comes to commercials and voiceovers. So it's Joe.
Elie. The next, I mean, as a hypothetical scenario,
Yeah.
if someone who's interested to join the voiceover industry comes up to you and asks you, what would be your 3 truths or 3 pieces of advice that you'd give that person?
I will tell them to leave because I just want to do it myself. I'm joking. Because I do a lot of kind of advice for voiceover actors that are looking to start. Practice. One, practice. Listen to a lot of voiceovers, listen to a lot of different voice actors, see what makes them special. Try to analyze a voice, not just listen to it, really listen properly, go into the details. Why did he pause here? Why did he stop there? Why is he picking up on this word? How is he emphasizing this word? It's interesting he emphasized that word. I would have done something different. Listen as much as you can. Practice, even if you don't have the gear for it. Our phones are enough to give us proper audio. You can listen to it, you can add music to it, we have the tools, we have everything. Do a lot of practices. And once you've done that, once you have different scripts, different intonations, try to do horror, try to do comedy, try to do family, try to do a car commercial, food commercial, try to do complicated scripts, words that are kind of like tongue twisters, stuff like work on those. And then once you have a bunch of different demos, pick them up, go to a studio, present yourself. Most studios, here's something that people are afraid, and they don't know, and they're afraid to try. Studios would be happy to have you come in and record a couple of demos from their old scripts and put your demos on their voice talent sheet, because studios send different talents to agencies and to clients. That's what people don't know. So they're afraid to approach studios. No, practice first. Obviously, don't go into the studio going, I don't know how to say voices. But no, go prepared, go ready, talk to them, record a couple of demos, have properly sounding audio, take that and send it across, spread it across different studios within the region, within different countries. Remote recording has become so normal that most people don't go physically to a studio anymore. They just record from their own setup, professional voice actors, obviously. So do that. That would get you in. That would get you started.
And it will also build your self-confidence.
Obviously. Obviously, man. Voiceover also, even if you're not going to become a voice actor, if you just want to learn how to do it, it helps you with your everyday conversation. It helps you with presenting. Your presenting skills would be different. If you're going up against someone else in a debate, it will help you. If you're presenting a new idea to your team at work, it'll help you. It'll make whatever you're saying interesting, and you can keep their focus. So it's really a good skill to have.
Awesome. So number 1 was practice, to make sure I didn't skip anything. Listen to a voice, really listen to the nuances, the pauses, the emphasis, practice. Like you said, you mentioned earlier, ChatGPT, you can type in a prompt to get a script. Just record it in different styles, use different types of projects. So narrations, scientific documentaries, explainer videos, etc., etc.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. When you're doing a demo, you want to create a product that doesn't exist, GPT will create it for you. Ask them to parody a car, and then do that, and then write a script about the region, something in the region. I did that when I was practicing, kind of looking into how AI would sound like, because of like websites like 11 Labs are cloning your voice and then they're putting it out. Like, it's crazy. So I wanted to see what would I sound like doing this commercial. So I recorded a commercial myself, and then I did one version with AI, and it freaking nailed it.
Really?
Man, it's scary, honestly.
With the emotion and all.
Yeah, obviously it's not going to be the same as, so you're going to be able to control things as a voice actor. And that's why I think we're okay for the next couple of years. We're still going to have a career as voice actors. But
until technology catches up.
Yes, but once technology catches up, interestingly, I think the way it's going to happen really at the end is you clone your voice, you give it to a studio, and then they pay you royalties for whenever they use your voice. So you end up making money a lot less than you would as a voice actor, but you don't do any of the work. So they can sell it to 200 different entities at once. I think that's where it's all headed. But in the meantime, we can still have fun, do voiceovers, build a career out of it, work around it. Here's also why AI is not near taking over, because agencies want to go on the call with you. and they want to tell you, no, pronounce it like that. No, bring this up, bring this down, do this, do that. A lot of agencies would love to do that. Some of them know the game, respect the voice actor, and they're like, you know what you're doing, do it. So, yeah.
Which I believe this is one of the points that comes to our advantage as humans versus AI voices.
Yeah.
I mean, we both know that AI can clone any voice out there. You can get a Morgan Freeman script for $20 online. And I really believe that this is where we still keep the upper hand, if you will, because of our creativity. And especially when you have multiple cooks, giving you their opinion and feedback. I think that's one of our strong points as humans, is our creativity versus AI.
I think we're going to get to a point where the commercials that are on the radio and on TV would need to have something that distinguishes them from AI. So it's going to be like blurbs or just like, yeah, the new Nissan. But that's a human. I'm a human. The new Nissan.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just
Nissan.
Random sounds in and out of the commercial that would be like, he's not AI. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to him.
That's interesting. What would point or advice number 2 be?
So when we said to listen, right? And then we said to record, to try. So always try different things, try to record and try to practice, because practice makes perfect. It's a saying for a reason, So the more you practice, the more you try it, even do it through mimicry. You copy someone, it's fine, you're learning, you'll develop your own voice at the end. But even if you start by copying another voice actor, that's a good start. Listen to them, see where they paused, and then do it yourself. See where you sound natural, where you don't sound natural, and kind of craft. And then if you're really serious about this, get yourself a USB mic, a small reflection filter, and start really recording. Long scripts, short scripts, every day. Sit down, end of day, record. You can do a makeshift home studio for nothing. And you and I know that we record on the road. I record when I'm on vacation. I record in hotel rooms. Do that. Practice makes perfect, man.
Awesome. And what would be number 3?
Go out there.
Okay.
Go to the studios. Go in. Don't be shy. Talk to studios. See if you can record a demo there. That's going to sound much better than the one you recorded at home. You're going to have an engineer there who might guide you, who might help you. They don't have to, but they might. They might give you advice. You might look at actual scripts from certain older projects, see how an actual script is written, and read it, do it, listen to demos. Go do it. Go to the studio. Put your voice out there. You know what I mean? That's because it's never going to come to you. Nobody's going to hear your amazing voice if you're just talking in your house. You have to put it out there.
What is your definition of a great voiceover actor?
Versatility. People, look, I have tremendous respect for cartoon character voice actors, animated voice actors. Someone like Dan Castellaneta, who does 37 voices on The Simpsons. Wow. Someone like Hank Azaria. And they're so distinct. They're not comparable. They're different, completely. You think it's completely different people, but no. It's people like that who have complete versatility. They can go really up, they can go really down, and they can go anywhere in between, different accents, So these are the guys I truly think are underrated. I think they're amazing. And as commercial voice actors, obviously I respect the late Don LaFontaine, because he sculpted what a movie trailer would sound like. He's the "in a world gone mad" kind of voice, Joe's coming for you, Jurassic Park, that kind of voice. Yeah, that's someone I tremendously respect. I think there's a lot of talented voice actors out there. If you really look into the field, you'll find some amazing people. I respect you as a voice actor.
Thank you.
I like your voice. You have the guy next door voice.
Thank you.
And you can go very deep.
Coming from you, it's an honor. Thanks, Elie.
I recognize your voice on the spot.
Really?
On the freaking spot.
What makes it so discernible?
I know it. Your S's are discernible. You have a width to your voice. If I hear a word that you recorded, I know it's you.
Wow.
Yeah. Over on ads, I'm trying to remember an exact one which one you did recently.
Wow. They were for Dubai, because there are a
Dubai.
couple I do for the pay-to-play platforms
Yeah.
like voices.com, etc. The last one for Dubai.
You did something recently. I heard it, and I knew on the spot. Oh, this is true.
Was it in Arabic or English?
I think it was English.
English. Oh man, it's like
It's off the tip of your tongue. I know, because it's on the tip of mine. I can't remember which one exactly was it, but it was. Point is, I was able to pick up your voice immediately.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess it comes with experience as well, right? Because
It does.
like you said, you would listen to voices and discern.
It's a personality. It's a style. You eventually craft your own voice.
Yeah,
You start by copying, and then you eventually develop your own voice. And you have that. You have a distinguished voice that I can, if I listen to it, I know, this is Joe. I know Joe. People tell me all the time they have the same for me. Like they can, you're the annoying guy who's on my YouTube.
Yeah.
Stop annoying me.
Yeah,
That
yeah. Stop showing up on ads.
on the Talabat here every day, right away. Kind of
yeah.
that. Yeah. Oh my God, that's you, Fudge.
I keep hearing your voice 24/7. Elie, I really want to acknowledge you for all the work that you're doing. And I'm not just talking about the voiceover work, but also your creative work, all the content that you're putting out there, and the fact that you're also sharing your experience with people and giving tips when you can. You're always here with a helping hand. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Joe. I think gatekeeping is bad. So if you have knowledge, you should share it, definitely.
Agreed.
So,
Guys,
you.
if you like this episode, please make sure to share, subscribe, and like. And if you have any specific questions for Elie that you'd like to ask him, please make sure to include them in the comments. We'll also share all your social platforms, and please make sure to follow Elie.
Thank you, Joe.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having me.